Hi guys, today we're going to be doing rounding to 10. I love to do rounding to 10 using a number line. So you might be familiar with number lines, but you might see it in different formats. A ruler is an example. Measuring tapes, another example. So a number line is exactly like a number chart, except the number line goes across. And you'll see that I've got arrows to show that our number line doesn't end there. It keeps going. You know that the numbers go on from 30 and they can go into negative numbers. So in order to do rounding to 10, the key point is to kind of look at your numbers, and I've put the 10s in red just to help so that they stand out. So we've got 0, 10, 20, 30, and those are the numbers I'm going to focus on just for my demonstration. The little lines in between are the digits. So we've got what comes after 0. We know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and on it would go. Now, number one key is to find that halfway mark. So between 0 and 10, what would be my halfway mark? Well, I know that half of 10 is 5. So 5 is going to be my halfway mark. So I'm just going to make that big green so that it stands out for you. Between 10 and 20, what would my halfway mark be? Well, if I move my fingers back to find it, I know that 15 is my halfway mark. Between 20 and 30, what would my halfway mark be? If you can see, I'm moving my fingers back. Up, 25. Now, you may have noticed that each of those numbers has got a 5 in it. So you should know 5 would be the halfway mark. So between 30 and 40, 35 would be the halfway mark. Between 40 and 50, 45 would be the halfway mark. So, very important to understand that. Now, when it comes to rounding to 10, we want to know the number that I have, is it closer to 0 or is it closer to 10? Or if we have a number that's got 2 digits, say for example 11, is it closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? And we use that halfway mark to guide us on which side of that halfway mark is it sitting. The same as 20 to 30. If we have a number, for example, 23, on which side of that green line is it sitting? If it's sitting on the right side, it is closest to the lower 10. If it's sitting on the left side, well, my left side, it would be closer to the bigger 10. So, for example, if I have the number 13, and I want to round it to 10. I want to round it to the next 10. Now I need to look on my number line. Okay, so let's find 13. Here it is over here. Now I can look. Right, there's some key factors here. There is my green line. That's my halfway mark. Is 13 closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? Well, I can see it's closer to 10. So I would need to round that down. The closest 10 is 10. If I had the number 18, what would that next 10 be? Or what would be the closest 10? Well, let's have a look. There's 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's where 18 would be. Now I can see, is it closest to 10? Or is it closest to 20? I think it's closest to 20. But we know for sure because it's sitting on this side of the green halfway mark. So if I had to round 18 to the next or to the nearest 10, it would be 20. The same would happen in the 20s. So if I had the number 24, what would be the nearest 10? So I look, 21, 22, 23, 24. There is 24 sitting over there. it closest to 20 or is it closest to 30? Well, I can clearly see it is closest to 20. And there is my halfway mark to help me as a guide. It is sitting on this side of the halfway mark, so the nearest 10 would be 20. If I had the number 25 and I wanted to round to the nearest 10, what would I do? Because I know 25 is sitting on the halfway mark. Well, anything on the halfway mark and that way always goes to the next 10. So the nearest 10 for 25 would be 30. So just a recap to go over what we've just looked at using a number line. I find it's the easiest. So if you want to create your own number line, if we were in class, I'd give you all some masking tape and we'd be creating our own number lines, but you might have a ruler at home, you might have a tape measure at home that you can play around with. So first thing is to identify your tens, then you identify your halfway marks between each 10. And then you might want to practice with some dice. You can roll yourself 2 digits and have a look at your number. So remember, if it is sitting on that side, so I'll make a brown arrow. If it's sitting on that side of your halfway mark, you are always going to round down. If it is sitting on that side, the right side, my left side, and you're going to round up. See if you can have a go. Perhaps you can find a number line or create your own number line and have a go with some numbers. I hope that was nice and clear and have some fun.